Welcome to podcasts recorded live at the Center for Spiritual Living in Portland, Oregon. We have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center and its video podcasts, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.
Feels so good. Thank you, guys. Yes. Good morning. Let's stand together and do our opening song. It is I See God in Everything. And take a look at the yellow sheet in your bulletin. Don't be fooled. It looks like a lot more words than it is. It repeats itself.
Good morning and welcome to the Portland Center for Spiritual Living. We are a science of mind community that teaches spiritual principles to transform your life and make the world a better place. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. All we ask is that you stay open to the possibility of changing your entire life simply by changing your mind. My name is Nancy Ashley, licensed practitioner here, part of the center's ecclesiastical team, and it is my honor to welcome you. And I'm going to just mention that it is now exactly 2 years, March 8th, 2020 was the last time we had a full service here. Now it's 2 years later, and this is for those of us in Oregon. We don't have to have masks on today, but of course you may if you want. So, if you're new to the center and joining us in person, there are welcome packets by the door, and it looks like this, and it has a lot of information about who we are and what we stand for and how we might serve you. For the global audience, welcome. I invite you to find out more about us on our website, cslportland.org. Under the About Us menu tab, you'll find a lot of information about who we are, what we stand for, and how we might serve you. The website also gives details about the various activities that are going on at our center. Everyone, here or virtual, is invited to visit our website, where you can sign up to receive email subscriptions. On the home page, scroll all the way down on the right-hand side, and there's a space to sign up. Subscription options include a weekly email listing of our events and services, a free program called 365 Earnest Homes, and you'll receive a daily Earnest Homes affirmation sent directly to your email box. They feature a lovely background picture and some reflective material presented by Reverend Larry. And this has been going on we're in our second year of this now, so thank you. You can also enter your birth date and get an e-card and gift on your birthday. So I'd like to highlight several announcements of what's going on. Our Sunday services, of course, here in person at the center, and on Facebook Live at 11 o'clock. Our services are presented later on YouTube and on our podcast. Wednesday night meditation is continuing on Zoom at 7 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time. That was good, you got that changed. Now it says Pacific Daylight Time, and all of you apparently set your clocks. This week, Sylvia Kearns is leading the meditation, and the theme is compassion as part of the Season for Peace and Nonviolence. Today's theme, when I find it, today's theme for the Season for Peace and Nonviolence is March 13th. The thought for today is uniqueness. Dale Carnegie says, the greatest need that people have is for love and approval. Praise, compliment, and honor the uniqueness of someone you know today, and notice the positive impact you make by valuing the individuality of this person. And these booklets are in the back if you don't have one yet, and it's also on our website. So it's a lovely way to start the morning in your daily practice with this. So we also have the Friday lunch with Reverend Larry, which has also been going on for 2 years now. This is 11:30 on Friday, Pacific Daylight Time, via Zoom, with lunch and spiritual discussion. So lunch, of course, is optional, and this is, again, a virtual program. We have our online Zoom groups for the Social Justice Book Club and our 12-step program. And as licensed practitioner Sean said last week with anyway, I'll skip that. It's facilitated by me. But I forget how he worded it so nicely. So both the Social Justice Book Club and the Women's 12-Step Program, which are both fabulous. If there's any way you can join us, the link is on our website and on our email that comes out. They've both been going on for a long time, and we have a very stable commitment to these. So we're in the midst of our Winter Connection Circle gatherings. The circles are a way to discuss the Sunday message in small groups at various times through the week. You can get more information on these online also, and they are drop-in, so you can join us still. After the service, you can join an in-person connection circle in the back of the sanctuary, and this is our meetup one, so anyone can come in, and it'll be at 12:30 today. Please mark your calendar for April 24th. After this 11 o'clock celebration service, join us for our annual business meeting. Members will vote on a slate of board candidates and will also present a full financial report and a program update. We'll be conducting the meeting both in person and using Zoom teleconferencing. We have a variety of spring classes and workshops open for registration, so I would like Reverend Marilyn Sprague to come up and share that with us.
Good morning, everyone, on this Spring Forward Day. And one of the ways we spring forward here at the Portland Center for Spiritual Living is to do what? Change your life simply by doing what? Changing your mind. And the way we change our mind is through sacred study. And so I'm here to share the sacred study offerings. They're available in your program or for our virtual audience online. So first, imagine this. Science of Mind has a class called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Get that? Can you imagine the coincidence? I am teaching that class, and it begins on Thursday, April 4th. So that's coming up real quick. So go to the website, register. It's Thursday evenings from 5:30 to 8:30. It's 5 weeks where you have an opportunity to learn Science of Mind principles, practices, and methods, and apply them to 3 specific areas in your life. This is not about learning theory. This is about applied learning. 3 specific areas of your life. Relationships. Anyone ever have a relationship issue? Spiritual principle can help you with that. Prosperity. Anyone ever have anything in their checkbook that they didn't like? Spiritual principle can help. And health. Anyone have a health and well-being issue? Guess what? Spiritual principle can help you with that. So Thursday evening starting April 7th from 5:30 to 8:30, and it's offered in our virtual classroom via Zoom. The link will be sent once you register. And this past the March and April, we're featuring What's in the Way is the Way for the book that we're studying. Well, a lot of what's in the way is fear. And so guess what? Your education team has an offering available to you to help you with that. It's called Fear to Faith. It's a 2-hour workshop, and we're not offering it once. We're not offering it twice. We're offering it 3 times. And we're not offering it just in Zoom, because I've heard some people say, oh, I just don't want to sit in front of a computer. Well, great. We have an in-person offering too. See, no excuses. Now, here's the power of this workshop. Science of Mind teaches the faith in a belief of an invisible principle. So we cannot see the principle at work, but it is at work in our life, and it responds to us in a personal way. And so what we see in our outer life is coming forth from the faith that we place in this invisible principle. So in this workshop, we walk through a very intuitive process that helps us get to the underlying fear that is blocking the good to be revealed in our life. So, when is this opportunity available? We have one that is available on Saturday, April 9th from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific time, and that's Pacific Daylight Time. And it's in our virtual classroom, and I'm teaching that. We also have another virtual offering. Licensed practitioner emerita Kate Barrett is offering this workshop on a Tuesday morning. So imagine grabbing your cup of coffee, sitting in front of your computer in your PJs, and learning how to release all that fear. That is Tuesday, May 3rd, from 10 to noon Pacific Daylight Time. And then for everyone who's like, oh, I miss so much being in person in class. Reverend Larry has a response for you. Reverend Larry is going to be teaching this workshop May 29th, that's a Sunday, right after the Sunday service from 12:30 to 2:30 in the upstairs classroom. All the information for registration is available at cslportland.org or in your handout. One more thing I want to highlight, because there's several more, but that's coming up later, is the beloved community practicing love and unity in the world. And this is a half-day workshop that is co-facilitated by Kate Barrett, licensed practitioner emerita, and licensed practitioner Nancy Ashley. And in this workshop, you'll look at concepts of peace and nonviolence and how we can apply that to love and unity in the world. And it's how we create and maintain what Congressman John Lewis called the beloved community, a nation and a world society at peace with itself. So I invite you to go to cslportland.org right now. Operators aren't standing by, but registration is available, and sign up for your choice of a sacred study opportunity. Change your thinking, change your life. Look forward to seeing you in one of our offerings.
Thank you, Reverend Marilyn. And I will just say you are already my beloved community, so thank you. Reverend Larry is going to tell us some more about something.
Something? I do love the way you introduce people. You're the best, Nancy. Actually, we've been listening to you all. A comment from people recently has been, whatever happened to our coffee service? It was sure nice to visit over a cup of coffee or have some tea after the service and get to know each other better. And so we are working on that. We hope to have a coffee service running at the beginning of next month. But the reason I'm here to speak to you all is, of course, we could use some volunteers for that said coffee program. It's easy lifting. All you're responsible for is firing up the coffee pots. It'll take about half an hour. You'll linger a little bit after the service, after you're done visiting with friends over coffee, just cleaning out the coffee pots. I think the estimate was about a half-hour commitment, and it's not every Sunday either. You can sign up for one Sunday a month or one Sunday every 6 weeks. Anyway, Nadine, raise your hand in the back there. Nadine said she would be able to talk more about it, give you a little more information if you're curious about it, and get back to you. And of course, there's training involved. It is making coffee. But if your house is like my house, I would hate to have a stranger trying to make coffee in my coffee pot. So complete training is provided. Maybe one Sunday a month, it's a way to give back to your community. And we'll get started with coffee service again. So thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Larry. And a number of people from the board here have been working in the bookstore to get it all ready, and it'll be lovely to have it open again. So thank you, Nadine, and the others. Our flowers, of course, are by our own Cat Stevens, Cat Jacobs. Thank you, Cat. And our special music today is by our very own Jim Solberg, who will be giving us some special music today. And you may have noticed Laura Perkins, who is not only a licensed practitioner, but has a beautiful voice. So thank you, Laura. We'll be doing our congregational songs. So our message today. All are welcome here by our very own Reverend Larry King. So sit back and relax, because we know that somewhere between the music, the meditation, and the message is exactly what your heart came to receive.
I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is more than enough. Inside there is peace, inside there is joy, inside there is sacred love. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. I will leave this world as it is, go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God. Go inside to find my God.
And as we go inside, we know that there is only one power, one presence, one source of all that is. I happen to call it God or Spirit or divine intelligence, whatever we call it. There is only one. It is everywhere present throughout the universe, and it is in, through, and as everything. And that means me. I am an expression of God's love, God's wisdom, and that is true for every person here. We are each unique expressions of that oneness, vehicles for the expression of all these divine qualities. And one that we're focusing on today is unity. We are all here together. We are all one. We are all in this world presence together. There is no separation. There is no difference. We are unique, but we are all part of that oneness that I call God. Every being, every animal, every part of the universe is part of that oneness that is God. And that means that each one of us is here today as a vehicle for the expression of love, of peace, of wisdom. And we know that each one of us, whatever continent we are on, whatever space we are in, we are all one with Spirit. And I am so grateful to remember that as the world seems to be in chaos. We know that there is one source of peace, one source of unity that is always present in, through, and as every one of us. And so I just give thanks for this, and I release my word into the action and activity of the law, knowing that it is already done. I release it, I let it be, and together we say, and so it is. And as we go into a few moments of silence, I just remind us that we are all one. We are part of that beloved community, which includes all of humanity. I let it be, and so it is.
Expression of the infinite, all of me, pure light, divine. All of me designed to perfection. All of me beautiful, sacred. Thank you. It's all about love, people. All about love.
Jim, what a treat. I was telling him earlier that his voice is amazing. Thank you so much. Often when we talk about diversity, when we talk about being a welcoming congregation, we talk about the outsides of folks. We're talking about welcoming in people with different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different walks of life. But the author that we're using this month, Mary O'Malley, has a theory that a lot of what we see on the outside is a projection of what's going on the inside. And so today I'd actually like to talk about internal diversity. What's going on in our own heads? You've heard a couple people already mention today that if we want to change our life, we have to change our thinking. But how many of us actually know what's going on in our own heads? That's the question that I have for us. When we first started with this book, she implied, well, and it's probably true, that a lot of the time we go through life pretty much on autopilot. She's called it being asleep. And to me, that is the idea that we're not really sure what the vibe we're putting out is. If we expect to have returned to us sort of the source of who we are, the flavor of who we are, if that's going to be coming back to us, I guess we better figure out what it is. And so today I want to talk about the diversity of our internal life, and that perhaps part of the trouble we're seeing in the world right now, part of the everything from trouble in the Ukraine to global warming and some of the issues that we humans have created upon ourselves, what if that is simply a reflection of what's going on in our own heads, and we're not even all that aware about it? So today I want to take two subjects in particular. One is our emotions, and the other piece of it is our storytellers. Reverend Marilyn introduced us to the idea of the storytellers that are going on in our heads a few weeks back, and I want to touch upon that and expand upon it. But first, emotions. So how many of us here think that we're pretty in tune with our emotions, have a good self-awareness of our emotions? Yeah, exactly. In fact, they did a study in, in fact, I've got the study right here. The study was done in 2018. 90% of people feel that they're relatively self-aware, that they know what's going on in their emotional and mental life. And so Tasha Urich at the university in the Midwest did a study to see if it was true, to see if people really did know what was going on in their heads. And she had a lovely set of questionnaires that she gave to over 5,000 participants that asked questions like, what emotion do you find most awkward in your life, and what's the source of it, and questions like that. Guess what she discovered? That 90+% of the people that thought they had a good handle on their mental and emotional life, actually only 15% of them were actually aware of what was going on in their emotional and mental life. And so even though we think we have an idea of what's going on in here, so very, very often we don't. I want to start with emotions, and of course I've managed to find a nice joke about emotional depth here. So one night, a wife found her husband standing over their baby's crib. Silently she watched him. He stood gazing down at the sleeping infant, and she saw on his face a mixture of such deep emotions: disbelief, doubt, delight, amazement, enchantment, skepticism, enthusiasm, ultimately joy. Touched by this unusual display on the part of her husband and the emotional depth that it showed, with eyes glistening, she slipped her arm around her husband's waist and said, "Beautiful, huh?" "Stunning," he replied. "I just don't see how anyone can make a new crib like that for less than $200. And so I want to ask you, are you aware of the emotions that you have most frequently? What we're learning is that our thoughts and our emotions are a signpost, a gateway into improvement. Now, oftentimes I think we're trained, and I would especially say it's true for young men, but I think it's true fairly universally in America. We're trained a little bit to put our emotions aside. It's like anger is not an okay thing to share with people. Being upset is probably not okay. It implies violence. Being sad all the time or having an aspect of sad, we're a little ashamed of that. We don't want to share that with everybody. I should be having a better time. I should be better doing. I should be in better control of my emotions. And so we tend not to speak about our emotions, but that has the negative effect for most of us too, that we begin to discount them in our own selves. We begin to not notice them even when they happen in us. And the trouble with that, when we back away from our emotions, it's not like they really go away. At almost a cellular level, they begin building up in our bodies, and we'll find ourselves with odd tensions in our back or that pit of the stomach feeling, right? It's almost as though the emotions themselves are not to be denied, and so if we don't address them, they start coming out sideways. Have you ever known someone that had emotions clearly out of control? Someone doing road rage, or someone who blows their stack for something fairly minor. Typically, that is because they have unaddressed emotional issues that have been suppressed or ignored for a long period of time, and it was that proverbial last straw that they blew their top. But really, if when emotions arise, we allow ourselves to feel them and even begin asking them questions. You'll remember one of the things we've been discovering is that when we're curious about our interior life, often it will lead to healing. And so we can do the same thing with our emotions. And Mary O'Malley brings up an interesting techniques that I don't even know that she portrays it as a technique, but I think it's wonderful. And she calls it, I see you and I know you. And so I want to talk about that for a moment. The first way that we can address emotions, of course, is to be aware of them. And that's the I see you part of it. And so she advocates the idea of just noticing your emotions. Don't have them and let them pass, or not have them by suppressing them, but rather have them and actually acknowledge their existence. I see you, anger. I see you, sadness. I see you, unhappiness. I see you, pain. I see you, difficulty. The first step towards addressing some of these long-seated issues that are going around in us, of course, is to recognize them. And then she would say, let's invite them to the party. Rather than backing away from them, right? All are welcome here. Let's see what it has to say. So we might say to ourselves something like, all right, anger, I see you, and I want to get to know you. So that's the second part. I see you, and then over time, I know you. And the I know you part of it is, I know where you're coming from. I know what you're made up with. I know your history. And I know how I can help you to be expressed in a healthy way. And I'd like to use an example of a friend of mine. I mentioned earlier the idea of road rage, and I have to say, my best friend for many, many, many years, Ed, was, well, let's just say you probably didn't want to be in the car with him. He was a lovely guy, and we used to go on road trips together. And after we'd been on a couple, I said, I'm just driving from now on. Because what would happen when he was behind the car, if anything untoward happened, like if someone cut him off, or do you know how sometimes people will sort of pass you and then kind of pull in too close, almost to say, you were going slow, take this kind of thing. Oh my gosh, he'd like turn purple. And then he would start doing things that I thought were a little dangerous. You know, he would like go right up to their bumper as if to say, I can go fast too, you idiot, kind of thing, right? And so after a while, I just said, I should probably do the driving. But I wanted to explore this a little. At the time, I was first in ministerial school, and what I recognized was his emotions were out of context, out of severity, out of sync with really what was happening, right? This would be a minor little thing happening on the freeway, and yet in him it would cause a big emotional impact. And so I was really curious, and I said, obviously you're mad when that happens, but what's going on? What does it remind you of? Or why in particular does that seem to be upset? And so without realizing it, I was following Mary O'Malley here, right? It was like, first I see you, and now I want to learn about you. I want to invite you to the table. I want to find out more about you. I'm not going to back away. We're going to examine this thing. And after some quizzing a little bit, some honest inquiry on my part, some curiosity, he said, well, it reminds me of when I was in high school. I was never very good at sports. One of the things I tried out for was track. And people used to make fun of me for not being able to run fast enough. And he said, I realize this doesn't seem to be connected at all, but when someone passes me and cuts me off, it's like I'm 14 years old again, and everyone's telling me I'm a failure. He said, I used to come home from school, and his father was an athlete. And so he would get a fair amount of flack at home, too, for not making the team or not being good enough. And he said, when I'm on the road and something like that happens, I'm 14 years old again and being told I'm not good enough. And you know what was interesting? Just that awareness, just that I see you and now I understand you, helped him an amazing amount. Because when he would feel that anger coming on, he could recognize, wait a minute, this isn't so much about that person in the car that just did that thing. This is about not being acknowledged maybe by my father when I was 14. This is about maybe being fun of with some of the other kids on the track team. And he said it really made all the difference. And so I'd like to offer this technique up for you all with emotions. The first part of it is, I see you. We have to notice when we're having an emotion in order to address it. And that was one of the things in that survey from the Midwest, was that most people, the emotion comes through them, like a 3-day set of measles. It just hits you, and there's not even an acknowledgement of it because you're so taken up with the power of the anger or the fear or the sadness or whatever it is that you're not even aware it's happening, even though you're deep in the middle of it. So one of the things, and we'll get into our homework for this week a little bit. I like to assign homework. For those of you that have watches or maybe a cell phone, set a timer for maybe every few hours just to check in, and it will remind you to do the I see you. Because what I'm guessing is if you set your watch for, every 3 hours, at least once during the day, it's going to catch you in the middle of a strong emotion, either sadness or upset or something will be going on worth your noticing. So then you can say, I see you. There you are, sadness. There you are, worry. And then you can begin to get to know it a little bit. You can begin to ask it some of those questions that we've been talking about the last few weeks. Sadness, why are you here now? Sadness, is there some message that you want to give me? Why now? What's going on right now? Is it an echo from the past of a time when I felt loss in the past? Is this reminding me something from yesterday? Is my sadness or my anger or my upset, is it in actual proportion to what just happened? And if the answer is no to that one, You can bet it's an echo from the past, that something happened in your past that this is reminding you of. And then you can begin going from I see you to I understand you. And when we understand a thing, that's where the healing takes place. That's where we can be gentle with ourselves. We can say, well, of course you were mad. It reminded you of being neglected as a teenager. Well, of course you're sad. It reminded you of when you felt abandoned, when your parents divorced. We can begin treating ourselves with the love and the respect that we're due. So the idea, right, it's I see you, and then after a while, I know you. And the process of getting from I see you to I know you is simply asking a few questions. What are you here to teach me? What are you here as a reminder of? What's the source of you? And above all, I would say, recognizing that all of these voices that you hear, all of these things that are causing these emotions, they're not bad. It's all right to feel shame. It's all right to feel sadness. It's all right to feel all of the emotions. They're all here for a purpose. And one of the key purposes is self-awareness. To take us from that 15% of people that are self-aware, let's raise that bar a little bit. Let's begin understanding more of the amazing people that we are through this simple inward journey of self-exploration. The other thing that she talks about in the material for this week is our storytellers. So I know it sounds a bit schizophrenic, but have you ever thought about all the different voices that are going on in your head? And many of them are pretty easy to identify. I know the easy ones for me to identify are my little boy voice in my head that wants to have fun and so often finds itself in situations where having fun maybe just wouldn't be appropriate. And so there's that little boy that just wants to, end the Zoom call and go out in the yard and play. Do you know what I mean? That little boy that would, kind of ditch work or do something like that. It's a little playful voice, and yet oftentimes what? It has to be put on the back burner. There's also the part of me, and I think of it as the college student part of me, that harkens back to the days when really all I had to do was explore wisdom. And oh my gosh, it gets me intrigued. It gets my curiosity and it gets my interest in new things. But of course, the trouble with that little voice, all these voices have their plus sides and their minus sides. That little voice, unfortunately, would get me sidetracked down a rabbit hole of trying out to find out new stuff and neglecting all the other stuff that I need to do. There's also a little voice that really is the best minister in the world, I gotta tell you. He really is, and I like to bring him forth as often as I can. Oh my gosh, he's caring and smart and intuitive with people that comes to him with problems. Oh my gosh. And at the same day, that person can feel so overwhelmed, right? And so I have all of these, and everyone does, right? I'm not actually schizophrenic. All of us have those different players in our own mind, and they're all telling us a variety of different stories. It's actually a good thing. It's a healthy thing. It's almost like you've invited a whole family of intelligent beings into your life to bring about something wonderful, something varied, something that isn't just plain and vanilla. There's always something different available. The different voices can find their perfect time to speak. But the trouble with it is, oftentimes those voices get on the negative track, that negative aspect of themselves. And so I'd like to suggest, in the same way that we did I see you and I understand you to our emotions, we can also do them with those storytellers going on in our head. So when the storyteller says something like, oh my gosh, this seems a bit dangerous. I'm not sure that I can trust her anymore. It's okay to begin saying, I see you. That's that fear of strangers. I see you. That's the voice of caution. And does that voice of caution have a place right now? Right? I mean, stranger danger was real useful when I was 7. Is stranger danger still useful now that I'm 50? And there might be an answer sometimes when it's, yeah, absolutely. But other times, maybe not so much. It's okay to ask the question, is this message, is this voice useful? I see you, and I understand where you're coming from. There was a time in your past when this voice of caution, this voice of fear, this voice of trouble would have been very useful. And is it useful now? Or can you simply say, I understand where you're coming from. That's the 12-year-old part of yourself that was left behind without a babysitter and told to absolutely not come to the door or answer the telephone. That's where that comes from. I see you and I understand you. Thanks for the warning. But you know what? I think I'm really pretty safe right now. So today we have learned a couple interesting things. One, we have learned that we're probably not as emotionally aware, not as aware of what's going on in our heads, not as, what do you call it, introspective as maybe we thought we were. Over 90% of us think we're really self-aware. In reality, it's probably more like 10 or 15% of us are self-aware. And we can do something about it through a simple process of, I see you and I understand you. The I see you starts out with just recognizing. I'm recognizing that little boy in me that wants to play right now, and probably right now isn't a good time to let him out. And it's okay. I see you. I understand you. There will be a time for play. I love you, right? But for right now, it's the Zoom call and all will be well, right? Don't need to feel impatient. Don't need to feel this is a waste of time. The little boy will get to come out in the future. I love you. I see you. I understand you. Bless you. And we've also learned to do the same thing with emotions, that next time you just feel outraged around something, ask yourself, wait a minute, what's going on here? I see you, you're outraged. Where does that rage come from? Is it from a time in the past when someone did something that was so outrageous you could never trust them again? Is the feeling of outrage actually commiserate with what just happened? Or is this leftovers? Is this emotional leftovers? Who here in restaurants, when you order too much, you put it in a to-go bag, right? I absolutely believe that we have emotional leftovers too. And we take them home and we put them in our refrigerator. And then sadly, like 7 months later, we pull them out and go, yikes, I am so furious. Right? That's an emotional leftover from something that happened a long time ago. And you shouldn't be eating it anymore, right? It's been in the refrigerator way too long. But we have to recognize that I see you for what you are. You're a leftover emotion. And I know where you're coming from. It was from that restaurant I went 6 months ago. It was from that painful experience that happened to me in high school. It was from that first breakup I had with my first wife. Whatever it is, we see it and we begin to know it. And how do we do that? By inviting it in, by saying all are welcome here. The fear is welcome here too. The upset is welcome here too. The flashback to something that unpleasant that happened long ago, it's actually welcome here because it's a signpost towards healing. Well, I want to close today with a quote from the book, A Course in a Prayer. Here's how she ends this chapter. She says the amazingly wonderful thing is that the storytellers in our head, with all of its fears, judgments, resistances, doubts, confusions, shame, and addiction to control, it's here to teach us about living a full life, starting today. Remember, the freedom that you're ready for doesn't come from changing anything outwardly. It comes from the ability to see and to be what is inside you right now. When you are caught in your mind, of course, you try to fix and change and get away from whatever you're experiencing. But when you begin to open your heart to the same circumstances, you discover the healing of not resisting what you are experiencing. This discovery will bring you to the phenomenal healing power of recognizing that all of you is welcome here. Let us pray. There is one power, one life, one joy, one healing presence. There is only this one thing. I choose to call it God or Spirit. And what I know about it is that it is everything. All the love, all the life, all the joy, all the peace, all that we could ever choose or wish, present in the mind and the Spirit of God. I know that means me. I know that means everyone. Each of us has that capacity of the inward journey of using our intelligence to ask a few simple questions as we recognize our emotions, as we recognize the storytellers. I see you. I know you. I gently hold you. And I simply invite you to be present with me as we solve the puzzle of being human together. With all of the light, all of the shadow, all of us are welcome here. And so in gratitude, I release this prayer into the activity and action of the law itself. I let it be. And together we say, and so it is. Thank you so much for being here today. Such a pleasure to have you with us today. Now is our time of conscious contribution. I invite you to take your gift or your tithe out. If you'd like to place it over your heart, you can repeat after me. Graciously I give from a place of love, knowing that as I give, so do I richly receive. And as the ushers receive the gifts here in the sanctuary, I also invite those of you who are online to go to our website at cslportland.org/donate. Thank you so much.
Our prosperity chant together. More than enough? That's not a question. More than enough. 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 More, much more. More than enough. More than enough. I have more than enough. I am more than enough. I am more than enough. More, much more. More than enough. 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 More, much more. More than enough.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say, God loves you and I love you too. Feel the love in the sanctuary. Lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
We come together. together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together in the
Name of love. Come together.
Come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together in the
Name of love. Yeah. It's okay to sing, people. It's all right. You're welcome here, you know. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the God in you. I feel the love in the sanctuary. Now lift your voice and repeat after me. We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
Together.
We come together in the
Name of love. We come together.
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 Come together.
In the name of love. From every walk of life,
Every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed and color.
in friendship we unite.
God in each other.
Take a look at the person next to you. Say namaste, I bow to you. I feel the love in the sanctuary.
The love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. Come together.
We 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 come together.
Name of love. We come together.
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 In the name of love. From every walk of life,
Every walk of life,
every creed and color,
every creed and color.
in friendship we unite. In honor of
God in each other.
Take a look at the person next to you. Namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Feel the love in the sanctuary.
Lift your voice and repeat after me. Come on. We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
Come together.
We come together.
Come together.
In the name of love, we come together.
We come
Come on,
together.
people. Come together.
We come together.
We come together.
We come together.
In the name of love, we come together.
We come together.
We come together. We come together. In the name of love, we come together. Yeah. We come together. Here we go. We come together.
We come together in the name of love.
Thank you. Don Schultz. Ken Brewer. And Laura, thank you.
And Jim Solberg.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, So thanks so much for being here today. A quick reminder about our connection circle for our meetup friends. That'll be just in the back part of the sanctuary there at 12:30. Also just want to let you know that we're here to support you in prayer. Something is going on in your life where you could use some prayer assistance. We have prayer request cards back there. Kathy Batten, licensed practitioner, is holding one up as an example. And if you're online, of course, you can go to our website. At the bottom of each one of our web pages is a little link that says make a prayer request. When you do one either in person or online, they're automatically distributed to all of our licensed practitioners, and it's our honor to pray for you throughout the week. But for now, I think it's time for a benediction. If you'd like to stand, you can repeat after me. Something wonderful is flowing through me right now.
Something wonderful is flowing through me right now.
It is this thing called life.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my mind.
Life is in my body.
Life is in my body.
And life is in my affairs.
Life is in my affairs.
I know it.
I know it.
I believe it.
I believe it.
I think it.
I think it.
And I am it
I am it.
just the way that I am.
Just the way that I am.
please know with me that you are never alone. If at any time during the day or night, if forgetfulness might creep upon you, I invite you to go within. On that altar of the Most High, recognize that you are loved. And in gratitude for this certainty, I let it be, and so it is.
So we'll sing our closing song together. It's a LaRonda Steele song, The Truth of Who I Am.
If you happen to be in the Portland, Oregon area, we'd love to have you visit in person. The Portland Center for Spiritual Living is located at 6211 Northeast Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. We have inspirational services at 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Sunday. We also have many programs, classes, and workshops developed just for our online audience. To find out more, go to our website at cslportland.org and look under the Online tab. We have a variety of content dedicated specifically for our online listeners. Our mission is to open hearts, ignite minds, and make a difference. If you'd like to support our center, you can donate online at cslportland.org/donate. Our website is also the place to learn more about what's going on at the center or to contact us. Allow us to become part of your extended spiritual community. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are most welcome at the Center for Spiritual Living.